Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Martin PK.
It is Byron Cage.
Pastor Helen Yorson.
I'm Todd Delaney.
I'm Doa Zombambo, and you're watching
Ec12one TV.
Preaching Christ through entertainment.
You make Christianity so much fun.
Stay tuned.
Hello amazing people, welcome to this week's edition of LifeNstyle show on Ec12one TV. Today we're going to be talking about a very sensitive topic, one that is not too far away from home, something that we all might have experienced from someone else or even ourselves at some point in our lives. Today we're going to be talking about body odor, also known as brohidrosis. Yes, you heard that name. Brohidrosis is also known as body odor, and that's what we'll be treating today. Why we have body odor, what parts of your body has odor, and how to take care of it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Like I said before we went on the commercial break, today we're going to be talking about body odor and everything that has to do with it and how to treat it as well. So first of all, let's understand, what is body odor? I know that once we say body odor, people start thinking, oh, sweaty people. You're not far from the truth, but however, sweat has no odor. There are certain bacteria that are released when you sweat, and these bacteria release protein acids that makes your sweat begin to smell. Having known that, I'm going to introduce my special guest to you today. He has joined me on the set today to help discuss this issue and how to eradicate that foul smell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. My name is Deryk PK Owusu Bempah. And well, I'm a photographer. I'm a lover of medicine. I love science. Yeah, and I'm also a crew on Ec12one TV.
Okay, welcome, Deryk.
Thank you.
So the reason I have Deryk here today is because Deryk is not necessarily a medical practitioner. Like he said, he's a professional photographer. And his job also entails a lot of sweating because, you know, when you have a wedding, you're taking pictures of, you're in the sun, you're bending down, you're getting up, you're running around. And so he has that job that makes him move around, which also makes it easy for him to sweat. So I'd want us to discuss, just like laymen, like you and I, we're all laymen in different professions. How do we take care of ourselves? Deryk, one interesting thing I have realized is every time we talk about body odor, people automatically think about the armpit, the underarm, but that's not the only part of the body that smells. The feet. There's some people that when they take off their shoes, it's like, gosh, and they know because they come to your house and you're like, oh, you don't wear shoes in, and they're like very skeptical to take off their shoes because they know they're literally going to have everybody's head down like, oh, what's smelling and all of that. So we have that. We also have people that sweat between their thighs. That also. So we're going to treat body odor in general, not necessarily just the underarm area. So I've had a lot of experiences with people that I go close to them and I'm like, Jesus, give me the grace to stay here for as long as I need to be here. Can you share some of the experiences you've had with people that have had body odor, if you have ever had body odor in the past, and how you were able to work around it?
Okay, well, so my experiences with others is usually mainly in public transport, trotro. And I quite remember there was one time I was going to work and I sat in the trotro and I was close to where the mate was, and the mate had to raise his hand, you know, above my head to take money from, and I immediately just closed my eyes and
Oh dear.
above my head because the smell was just too much. And there was this time I was with someone in an office, and he took off his shoes. It was so bad I had to tell him to put his shoes back on, and the AC was on as well, so I told him to put his shoes back on, and we had to turn off the AC and open the door for air to come in, fresh air to come in. But from my point, I think in my teens, during puberty period, I used to have body odor under my armpit. So one of my aunties recommended using lime constantly for me. Yeah.
Okay, did that work?
Yeah, it did. It did help. Well, up to a point though, because personally, I loved using deodorants, but the thing was I wasn't sticking to one deodorant. I kept switching between deodorants. When this gets finished, I'll go in for another one. So my auntie told me if I'm not going to be using the lime consistently, I'd have to stick to one particular deodorant, because then using other ones is going to change the odor or the smell that it's on your body. So that's how come I was able to overcome that.
Okay, that's amazing. So just like I said earlier, the body odor is not just your underarm. You have different parts of your body, especially if there are parts that have been covered, right? And you sweat a lot there. The bacteria tend to release that acid I talked about earlier in the show, and they start to smell. Now, I think the first rule in getting rid of body odor is bathing properly. Underline the word properly. It's not you just jumping into the shower and you jump out. No, you take your time, scrub yourself properly with your sponge every morning and evening at a minimum. Or if you have the luxury of having a bath 3 times a day, amazing. That's the first step. Now, breaking it down, and that one kind of would help you with the thigh, the inner thigh smells I talked about. Now, coming to the feet, I know there's so many antibacterial powders out there, and I don't know why people don't like to wear socks when they wear their shoes, especially the men, you know. If you know you sweat in your feet, you know you sweat under your feet, you sweat in your palms, please wear cotton socks when you're going out. What they do is they absorb the sweat, right? And when you take them off, they don't smell. But when you're sweating and is rubbing on the leather inside your shoe, what do you expect would happen? You know, it's basic, you know. These are the little things you can do. And I know that there are antibacterial powders, like I mentioned, that you can actually pour into your shoe before you wear, and that helps people that already have their feet smelling. Okay, the one about wearing socks can prevent you to even start that, but I know that with the feet one, it's really difficult to eradicate. So once you start having that, you have to treat it. These powders are antibacterial, they're clinically approved and all of that. You pour them into your shoes, you wear them. After a period of time, you would actually be able to eradicate the sweat totally. Then you can start wearing socks properly. So having said that, let's move to the underarm, because that seems to be the one that is quite rampant in our society. When you get artisans, an electrician, a carpenter, like artisans, they come to your house, and by the time they go, you're thinking, hey, bring me a deodorant, air freshener or something, you know. Or you, even in church, you come to church and lift up your hands in worship, and the person seated next to you decides to lift up his hands in worship, and you literally just say, Jesus, how do I continue worshiping? Do I change my seat? And you don't want to make people feel bad, right? You know, you don't want them to feel like that. And one thing I've noticed again, Deryk, is most people that have this this challenge, I'll put it that way, they don't actually know they smell.
Yeah, sure.
They don't actually know they smell. They don't actually, and it's sad. So I beg you, whether you know you smell or you don't know you smell. Deryk just talked about him using, he used lime. Lime works. I know lime works, and I know alata semina works as well. When you take a shower, then you use the alata under your armpits. A lot of people are trying to run away from artificial products like deodorants and all of that because of cancer. So the traditional and the organic ways you can eradicate smell is using lime or lemon, if you have that, in the evening when you're going to bed, and in the morning when you have a shower. And you can also use alata semina. Now, with people who use deodorant, there's a mistake that we all make, and I'm going to correct that today. You are not meant to expect a result when it has to do with body odor from a deodorant after you take a shower on your way out. No. You're meant to use a deodorant after you take a shower at night when you're going to bed, because that way the deodorant can work on your skin whilst you're asleep and you're not sweating. But once you apply it and you start sweating almost immediately, it doesn't protect nothing, because the sweat literally dilutes. So ideally, you're meant to use a deodorant at night when you're going to bed, and then by the time you wake up in the morning, it's worked on the area, and then when you go out, you're fine. And another way you can eradicate the underarm odor is by using hydrogen peroxide. Just go to any pharmacy and tell them you want to buy hydrogen peroxide. Now, how do you use this? You mix 1 teaspoon of hydrogen peroxide to about 3 teaspoons of water. You mix it together. If you have a cotton wool or you have a clean small towel, you use that, put it into it, and then you just rub under your arm before you go out. Hydrogen peroxide works really well. Now, if you're someone who works out a lot, you wake up in the morning, you go to the gym, you're prone to sweating. If you're someone who does very tedious jobs, you're an artisan, you're a carpenter, you have a job that makes you work under the sun a lot, you are prone to sweating, right? And one thing you should notice is if you sweat, if your underarm sweat is a lot, there's a high tendency that it will smell. So please take these measures into consideration before you step out, so it's comfortable for you to walk into a place and people don't have to get up and leave just because you've come. So another thing is watching your diet. You know, meals that have a lot of fatty elements in them, like high fat elements, to smelling foods like garlic and all of that. I don't know if you've noticed this. When you eat a lot of garlic and you sweat, it smells in the sweat. Yeah. And some people also say when you, I haven't noticed that one, when you eat a lot of pineapple. I'm not a pineapple fan, so I wouldn't know this one. But I understand that when you eat a lot of pineapple as well, I'm not quite sure what a lot means. Maybe you have to eat 10 pineapples. You know, that it also comes out. So there are certain meals that when you eat and you sweat, they literally make your sweat more pungent. You know, so watch what you eat. If you eat a lot of food that is high in protein, people on keto diets, please make sure you're eating a lot of protein. So make sure that before you step out, you take certain measures to make sure when you go out there and you're sweating, or when you're in a place where it's quite hot, or in an environment where it's hot, you don't have to ooze out a bad odor. And the last one I'm going to talk about is shaving your underarm hair. This one, dear.
Extremely important.
Very important. Brothers. My brothers. I'm not sure whether in this part of the world it's a guy thing for a man to have underarm hair, because I know the sisters actually try to shave every now and again. You know, sometimes they forget. Please don't forget, sisters. But I think it's also something that should be added to a man's personal hygiene, because I think a lot of men feel very comfortable walking around with a lot of underarm hair. Which, can you explain to me, because you're a guy? So I don't know, is it part of you people, like it's normal? Because for a woman, it's not normal for a woman to raise up her hands and you see a lot of hair. It's like ew. But for men, why is it not ew when we see it? It's like you do it proudly. What's the thing?
Well, personally for me, it's something that's really disgusting to me personally. So I like shaving my the hair in my armpits. But for other guys, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's something which is sort of like a fashion, because of late I started seeing on Twitter that it was something that was trending.
Sir,
you know, it was
underarm hair is trending.
Yeah,
for all of us or just the men?
Well, for ladies actually.
Underarm. Jeez.
For ladies, it was
really?
it was something that was
I haven't
trending
seen this one
on Twitter. People
so what's
were
the trend?
People were asking if ladies who have hair under their armpits is sexy or something, if it's attractive. I don't know.
Wow.
But for some guys, or probably maybe the main reason is because usually guys wear clothes that cover the armpit, unlike ladies. Ladies usually wear
sleeveless, like I'm doing right now.
So for ladies to, you know, having hair there to raise your hand, it kind of looks some way. But for guys, since it's almost always covered, so it doesn't become.
But you
a
know,
problem.
the fact that it's almost always covered even makes it more pungent, because now it's like there's heat
so much
in
heat
there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's, I think, I beg you, you know, the last time we were talking about what to eat and how to keep your body, I actually mentioned that the Bible says that your body is God's temple, and you need to take care of the temple of God. This is not what's trending or what is in vogue or what is cool or what is, you know, it's about how can God dwell in a place that smells. If a human being cannot stand your smell, how can God stand it? You know, let's think about it. I know it's funny, but let's think about it in that way. One thing I know is that God doesn't like a dirty place. So if your body is a dwelling place for the Holy Spirit, how can God dwell there when I can't even stand close to you? Think about it. And I know there are people that genuinely are going through the situation and they just don't know what to do, because they've tried so many things. This has been prescribed, that has been prescribed. Like I said from the beginning, and I'm just gonna do a quick recap. You need to take your time in taking a bath. Okay, proper bath.
Proper bath.
Sponge. Don't mind those people that tell you not to sponge your skin. And my brothers and my sisters, use the sponge. Scrub yourself real good, because there are bacteria when you go out and come in. The dust, the sand. People are talking to you. They have little drops of spit coming out from their mouth. All these things, they land on your skin. So when you get home, take a proper shower. Take your sponge. Take your good soap. Preferably the local soaps. They've not been too colorized and too diluted, and you sponge yourself nicely. Smell fresh. Always make it a point of duty to make sure you smell fresh. If you can't do the lime therapy or the hydrogen peroxide therapy or the alata 7-out therapy, which is the black soap, then you can just buy yourself a really good deodorant or roll-on and make sure you use it at night before you go to bed. You can do a bit of a touch-up in the morning when you take a shower, but the real work is done while you're asleep at night. And like I said, for those of us that have smelling feet, please, if you go to a pharmacy, even local drugstores, you will get the antibacterial powder that you can put into your shoes. And for those of us that don't have smelling feet and wouldn't want to have smelling feet, especially the men, always wear a thick cotton socks before you put your shoes on, especially if the shoes are tight. Ladies, for us, we almost can never wear socks when we're wearing our heels and all of that. So what do? If you know you're someone who has an oily skin or it's easy for you to sweat, don't cream under your feet. You can cream your feet, you can cream your legs, cream your toes, but don't take your lotion under your feet, because the moment you do that, when you start walking, you start sweating, and you're also prone to having a feet that smells. Okay, so I hope today has been educative enough for you. This issue we discussed today can actually make you, go for a visa and not get a visa. It can make you go for a job interview, and even before they realize how amazingly smart you are or educated you are, just the smell oozing up from your body when you step into the office makes them want to tell you to leave almost immediately. Of course, people are so nice these days, they won't tell you directly. But please, if you don't use deodorants or any body sprays or anything like that, try. And you might not be able, like I said to Deryk, you might not know that you actually do smell, and people around you might not tell you because they love you and they're trying to be nice to you. But you as a person, this is a personal hygiene. Make sure you bath well. Make sure you take care of yourself. Use what is needed for your feet, for your thighs, for your body all the time. Thank you so much for joining on set today, Deryk. I hope we can have you some other time as well.
Obviously.
Okay. So that's a wrap for today. Our next edition, we'll be talking about mouth odor. Yes, still in the same line of body odor, but we'll have to treat the mouth odor differently. And I'm going to try to have a dentist or a tooth specialist to come and have a sit down with me, and let's understand how best we can eradicate mouth odor in our society, as well as affordable ways that we can take care of our mouth without having to break an arm or a leg or break the bank. Okay, thank you. Today my amazing dress is from Angel Clothing, and Angel Clothing is on Bachelor Spintex Road. You can call on the number on the screen or follow their social media handles on the screen. And my makeup and hair was done by Elite Consult Ghana. Elite Consult Ghana is located in East Legon American House. You can also have their number on the screen and follow them on social media handles. It's been me, Queendalyn Yurglee, bringing you this week's edition. I can't wait to see you next week. Thank you and God bless.